Okay, good morning.
Good morning.
So today we're going to learn about comparing and contrasting. Doesn't that sound like fun?
Yeah.
Okay, so we're going to do our learning objective. Can everybody say, I can compare and contrast characters in a story by using a Venn diagram. Good job. That's kind of a hard word because we might not know what that word means. So a Venn diagram is a diagram that has two circles that overlap each other. That's why we do this, okay? Does that make sense? Okay. So our other learning objective is I can compare and contrast settings from stories by using a Venn diagram. Good job. So those are our learning objectives today. So that's what we're going to learn, okay? Aren't you excited to learn about a Venn diagram?
Yes.
So our questions today that we're going to answer in my lesson are, what does compare and contrast mean? Can everybody go like this? Say, what does compare and contrast mean?
What does compare and contrast mean?
Wonder what it means. And my other question is, how does setting and characters influence our stories? Isn't that's kind of a good question. How does it? So can everybody say, how does the setting and characters influence the story? Okay. So our vocabulary words today, we have two. Can everybody hold up two? We have two vocabulary words. So our first one is compare. So you're going to go like this. You're going to put your examining glasses on. And you're going to say, can you whisper first? Can you go, compare. So we're going to put our examining glasses on. And we're going to say, to examine the similarities between two or more items or ideas. So let's do that one more time. Say, compare is to examine the similarities between two or more items or ideas. Now we're going to learn about the word contrast. Can everybody go, contrast? Contrast means to examine the differences between two or more items or ideas. Good job. So we're going to do something really, really fun. But friends, we have to listen and let's not talk when we transition to our next fun thing. So we're going to read two books, not one book. We're going to read two. How fun is that? So what we're going to do is when I call your name, I want you to go to your designated seat on the rug. So where you're supposed to sit on the rug. When I call your table, you will go over there quietly and sit quietly. Thank you. Okay, Stephen and Ariel, you can go. Walker's table, you can go. Thank you for walking quietly and finding your seat on the rug. Carter's table, you can go. Song, you can go. Amarla's table, you can go. Carter. We're not going to worry about that. Thank you. Telly's table, you can go. Kaylin, you can go. Elijah's table, you can go. Jackson's table. Thank you for all coming to the room quietly. So, we're going to read a book, and it's called Goldilocks and the Three Bears. Can anybody raise their hand? Not yet, you don't know the question. What if you don't know the answer? Can anyone raise their hand and tell me if you have ever read the book Goldilocks and the Three Bears? There's so many friends that have read this book, or maybe your mom or dad or maybe a teacher has read you this book. Okay, so you can put your hands down. Would anybody like to tell me, by raising their hand, not yet, tell me what the story is about? Okay, Tully, what do you think this story is about? Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's good, Tully. So she was saying that this story is about a little girl who goes into someone's house. Was it her house? It wasn't even her house. It wasn't her house. And like Tully said, she goes throughout the house and she eats their food. Oh my goodness. And she rocks in their chairs. And she sleeps in their bed. That's kind of, is that something we would do? No, probably if you don't know them. Okay, so this story is about a little girl and then the three bears. So the three bears are the house that she went into, okay? Now, can anybody tell me if you have read, you can raise your hand, if you have read, or your parents or a teacher have read The Three Snow Bears. Have you ever seen this story before? Okay. Would anybody like to tell me what it's about? Let me see. Elijah, have you read this story? Yeah. So it's about Mommy Bear, and where is it? Do you know where it is? Where it snows, so probably Antarctica, so somewhere up north. The Arctic. Thank you, Stephen. So it's in the Arctic. So we're going, thank you. So first we're going to read this book, and it's called Goldilocks and the Three Bears. So can everybody sit crisscross applesauce? Thank you. Crisscross applesauce. And then I want you to put your hands like this, and like this. And I want you to put your hands together and put them in your lap. Okay. We're going to leave all of our questions in our... Okay, are we going to make comments during the story? No, we're going to keep it in our... Thank you. Okay, Goldilocks and the Three Bears. Once upon a time, there were three bears who lived together in a little cottage in the woods. There was a great big father bear, a middle-sized mother bear, and a wee small baby bear. One morning, the three bears decided to go for a walk in the woods while their breakfast porridge cooled. While they were gone, a little girl named Goldilocks came past their cottage. She peeked in the window, and when she saw that no one was home, she went inside. There on the table sat the three bowls of porridge. The porridge smelled so delicious that Goldilocks just had to have some. First, she tried the porridge in the great big father bear's great big bowl, but it was too hot. Next, she tried the porridge in the middle-sized mother bear's middle-sized bowl, but it was too cold. Then she tried the porridge in the wee small baby bear's wee small bowl, and it was just right, and she ate it all up. When she had finished the porridge, Goldilocks wandered into the sitting room where she found the three bears' chairs. First, she tried the great big father bear's great big chair, but it was too hard. Next, she tried the middle-sized mother bear's middle-sized chair, but it was too soft. Then she tried the wee small baby bear's wee small chair, and it was just right. So Goldilocks sat down in the chair and broke it in all bits. Then Goldilocks went upstairs, where she found the bears' beds. First she tried the great big father bear's great big bed, but it was too hard. Next she tried the middle-sized mother bear's middle-sized bed. It was too soft. Then she tried the wee small baby bear's wee small bed, and it was just right. So Goldilocks lay down and fell fast asleep. No sooner had Goldilocks fallen asleep than the three bears returned home. Their walk had made them very hungry, so they hurried right into the kitchen. Goldilocks had left the spoon in the great big father's bear porridge. "Someone has been eating my porridge," said the great big father bear in his great big voice. The middle-sized mother bear saw that there was a spoon had been eating in her porridge. And she said, "Somebody's been eating my porridge." And the middle-sized mother bear in her middle-sized voice. Then the wee small baby bear, I looked at his bowl of porridge. "Someone had been eating my porridge," cried the wee little small baby bear in the wee little small voice, "and they've eaten it all up." Then the three bears hurried into the sitting room. Goldilocks had knocked the pillow off the great big father bear's chair. "Someone has been sitting in my chair," said the big father in a big great voice. The pillow on the middle-sized chair, on the mother bear's chair, had been moved too. "Someone has been sitting in my chair," said the middle-sized mother. Then the wee small baby bear looked at his chair. "Someone has been sitting in my chair," cried the wee small baby bear, "and they've broken it." That's so sad. Then the three bears went upstairs. Goldilocks had messed up the covers on the great big father's bed. "Someone has been sleeping in my bed," said the great big father. The covers on the middle-sized mother's beds had been messed up too. "Someone has been sleeping in my bed," and the middle-sized mother bear in her middle-sized voice. Then the wee small baby bear looked at his bed. "Someone has been sleeping in my bed," cried the wee small baby bear in his wee small voice. "And here she is." Goldilocks woke up with a start. She leaped out of bed, jumped through the window, chambered down from the roof, and ran away just as fast as she could go. What happened to Goldilocks afterwards, no one knows. The three bears never saw her again, and they lived happily ever after in their cottage in the woods. Was that good?
Yeah.
Did y'all like it? Yeah? Okay, so where was it? Where did that story take place? Can anybody raise their hand and tell me where it took place? Okay, Jax, where did it take place? Where did the story? In the forest, in the woods. Okay, and what kind of house? What was the name of the house that the bears lived in? Lily.
Cottage.
A cottage. Can everybody say a cottage?
A cottage.
Did you know Miss Joy lives in a cottage?
No.
I don't live in a big house. I live in a small little house on a farm, and it's called a cottage. And it's basically just a small little house with a kitchen and a bathroom, and it looks like a house. It basically is, but it's out in the middle of a farm in the woods, just like theirs. Okay, so, let's think. Who were the characters in the book? Okay. Amarius, who were the characters?
The three girls and the little girl.
The three bears and the little girl. Can someone raise their hand and tell me the little girl's name? Remy, what was the little girl's name? Can anybody help Remy? Would you like some help? Okay, Brooklyn, what was the little girl's name? Goldilocks, that was her name. Okay, now we're going to read another book. Isn't that so exciting? We don't just get one book, we get two books today. And so it's called The Three Snow Bears that we talked about earlier. Okay, can everybody get their wiggles out? Wiggle out, wiggles out. Now sit crisscross applesauce. Put your hands together. Right up in your lap. Thank you. Come back, Uliki shouted as her huskies floated out to sea. Oh no, she knew that although an ice floe is a good place to fish, it is a bad place to lose a dog team. Not far away, a snow bear family had just started to eat their breakfast, but it was way too hot for Baby Bear. Oh wee, yelled Baby Bear. My breakfast burned my mouth. We'll go for a stroll and let the soup cool, Mama Bear said. Uliki was running along looking for her dogs when she came upon the biggest igloo she had ever seen. Who lives here, she wondered. Uliki ducked inside. Right away, she smelled something delicious. Across the room, she saw a big bowl, a middle-sized bowl, and a small bowl. Surely the good smell was coming from the 3 bowls. Uliki took a sip from the biggest bowl. Ow! She cried out. That's too hot. She took a sip from the middle-sized bowl. Ew, too cold. She tipped up the little bowl and drank every drop. Mmm. Not too hot and not too cold. In the next room, Uliki spotted the pairs of beautiful boots standing in a row. She put on the biggest boot. Too big, she said, and she put on the middle-sized boot. Too fancy, she said, but then she put on a little pair. Just right, she said, wiggling her toes in a soft fur lining. Uliki walked into the last room and found a long sleeping bench piled high with fur covers. Heat from an oil lamp warmed up her cheeks and made her sleepy. Time for a nap, she thought. She crawled under the highest mound of covers. Too lumpy, she grumbled. She tried the middle bed with furry French covers, but sank down so far that she could hardly breathe. Too soft, she said. She rolled over into the smallest sleeping place. The furry blanket was cozy and warm. The pillow was just her size. Just right, Uliki murmured, and was asleep before she could even take her boots off. Uliki hadn't fallen fast asleep. She might have heard her dogs barking happily. Papa Bear, Mama Bear, and Baby Bear had spotted them adrift on a strong current and gone out to save them. The Snow Bear family was pushing Uliki's dog team back toward the igloo in safety. Papa Bear crawled into the igloo and saw his big bowl sitting in a pool of spilled soup. Someone has been tasting my soup, he roared. Had he been sloshed around too? Someone has been sipping my soup. Someone has been sipping my soup too. Someone found my soup, sputtered Baby Bear in her high, squeaky voice, and they ate it all up. Papa Bear ran into the next room and saw his boots in the middle of the floor. Someone has been trying on my boots, he boomed in a big, great bear voice. Mama Bear put on her fancy boots. Someone had their feet in my boots, she mumbled. And the fur is all bunched up. Baby Bear saw that her boots had disappeared. Someone has taken my boots and left behind a not good one, she wailed. The bears ran into their bedroom. Someone has been sleeping in my bed, Papa Bear bellowed. Someone has been sleeping in my bed too, Mama Bear cried. Baby Bear peeked at her little bed and squealed. Someone has been sleeping in my bed. And here she is. Uliki opened her eyes and saw 3 bear noses only inches away. Would you be scared?
Yes.
If I saw that many bears, I would be kind of scared. She hopped out of bed and dove between Papa Bear's huge furry legs. And she ran. Quicker than a seal, Aluki ran from room to room until she burst outside. Her huskies bounced around, barking and smiling their doggy grins. Aluki and her dogs flew over the frozen ice, dodging ridges and cracks. She looked back and waved a thank you to the snow bears. She couldn't see them, but she heard a big gruff voice, a middle-sized voice, and a high squeaky voice calling to her. Bye-bye! Okay, so where did we keep our thoughts and our questions? Now, would you like to raise your hand and ask a question? Okay, Kaylee, what's up? You did? Yeah? And they were both the same? And what word did we learn earlier? What vocabulary word did we use? When something has the same ideas or items, what is that called? Y'all remember? It is a harder word. Okay, let's see. It does start with a C. Okay, y'all want to know what the word is? Let's see if Remy knows the word. Remy, do you remember the word? Okay. Amarius, do you remember? No, really close. It's called compare. When they're very similar. Okay, what's up, Stephen? A grease lamp is what they use in colder places. So like in Alabama, it doesn't get that cold, so we don't have to use them. But they're basically a lamp with grease in them, and you light them on fire to keep you warm. So kind of like a fireplace, okay? Or a candle. Okay, can everybody sit crisscross applesauce? Now take your hands and put them like this. Okay, now we're going to transition to our desk. Okay, so when I call your name, you can go sit at your desk quietly. Okay, are we gonna run over there? Are we gonna talk? We're gonna walk. Okay. Tully, Marla, Walker, Jax, Carter, Ikram, Stephen, London, Rennie, Allie, Elijah, Tom. Wow, friends, y'all are doing so good. Okay. Amari, CPU, Ariel, Kaylee. Y'all can all go to this. Good job. Y'all sat so quietly and listened so well. Then we all sit at our desks on our bottoms on our chairs. Thank you. So, Miss Joy has a really cool sheet. Now let me see, who am I going to get to hand out my sheet today? Let's see. Lily, will you hand out all my sheets to each friend? Thank you. Okay, so are we gonna write on Miss Joy's sheet yet? No, we're gonna listen for directions. Good job. Yes, you have to write your name. So can everyone get a pencil and write your name at the top of your sheet? You'll get one, I promise. Lily will get one. Let's run. Your name on your sheet. I want you to sit there with a thumbs up and a bubble in your mouth. Did you write your name? You put a thumbs up. So I want to make sure they get done so I don't start talking. Wow. I love how Allie is sitting there with her thumb up. I love how Kaylee is. Yes, Kaylee, you have a question? Thank you, Lily. Okay, so can everybody put their hands down? So we learned about the words compare and contrast. Compare means that there's similarities, the things that are the same. Can anybody name a character that might have done the same things as the other character
The
did?
three bears.
Shh, can you raise your hand? Okay,
The
Susan.
three bears.
The three bears. There were three bears in each story. Okay, Jax. Both of them were girls. There was one girl in the story and another girl in the story. Okay, Carter.
That was like three. And then the mama bear, the baby bear, and the daddy bear,
Yes.
and the bear.
Okay, now I'm gonna pick one more person. Let's see, Allie.
They all had the same stuff.
They all had the same stuff. Okay, so those were some similarities that they had. Now, what were some differences? So we're contrasting now. So we're not comparing, we're contrasting. And that means differences, things that are not the same. Okay, Kaylee, what was not the same? The boots, yeah. They didn't have boots, they had rocking chairs in the other one. Okay, Lily. The what? The soup, yeah. One was porridge and one was soup. Okay, Steven.
The beds.
The beds, yeah, they were different. One bed was like a bed that we would sleep in, and one was like blankets. So those are very different, right? Okay, Brooklyn. The houses were different. Can anybody raise their hand and tell me the name of the house in the first story? Not the second one, the first one. Okay, Jax. Not a carriage, that's close though. That is very, oh, can you raise your hand? I'm looking for somebody with a bubble in their mouth. Okay, Elijah, what was the name of the house that the three bears lived in the first story? It starts with a C. Huh? Not a carriage. Okay, Allie. A cottage, they lived in a cottage. Okay, so these are all some really big words, right? And what is the house at the other story? What kind of house did they live in? Let's see. London. An igloo. They lived in an igloo. Has anybody seen an igloo? You've probably seen a picture of one. But we don't live in igloos because we don't live where it's really, really cold.
We're not penguins.
We're not penguins. Okay, so I know we have so many thoughts, but where are we going to keep them? Okay, let's keep them in our brain. So we're going to write some similarities in the circle. Now don't write in yours yet, okay? What Miss Joy writes up here is what we're going to do together, okay? So this one is about a character. Oh wait, no, this is the setting. The setting. Okay, don't write on your paper yet, okay? So let's put our pencils up, please. So this is what we're gonna do together, okay? So we're gonna compare and contrast. Can everybody go compare and contrast? Contrast. Okay, so let's find some similarities, things that are the same, and that means comparing. So let's find some things that are the same in the setting of the two stories. Let's see. We'll put them up here so we can see them. Okay, I'm gonna pull a stick and let's see if somebody can tell me something that was similar. Ikram, do you know something that was similar in the setting? Can anybody remind Ikram what setting means? Can somebody raise their hand and remind Ikram what setting means? Jax, can you remind us what setting means?
Person, place,
That's a noun, very good. A setting is something that's going on the outside. So like our setting right now is the classroom. We're in the classroom. So it's what they're in. So the setting in this first book was where? Can anybody tell me?
cottage.
In a cottage, where though?
In the
In the
woods.
woods, so that's the setting. Ikram? So where was it?
In the woods.
In the woods. Now, was it in the woods in the other story?
No.
No. So, we're we're gonna put the woods, but don't write it on your paper, we're just gonna do this on the board. So the woods was different, okay? Now, what was the setting in the other story? Jackie. An igloo, yes. So it was the Arctic. Yeah, let's not write them. I need your pencils to be in your bin, please. Thank you. Okay. So now let's talk about the house that they were in. That was a part of the setting. So what kind of house was Goldilocks and the Three Bears, Elijah? What kind of house? You said it earlier. What kind of house? A cottage. Okay, and what kind of house, Lily? What kind of house was the three snow bears in? Let's see. Tully.
A cottage.
Not a cottage.
Cottage.
Let's see. Put your hands down, friend. Remy. What kind of house did the three snow bears live in? An igloo. Good job. Shh. I need your sheet on your table. Okay. Now let's try to find some things. So those are different, right? Is a cottage and an igloo the same?
No.
No. Is the woods and the Arctic the same?
No.
No, they're not the same. So, let's find something that is the same in the story. Maybe something that you saw in the story. What was something you saw in the story? Ariel, did you see anything in the two stories that were similar? What did you see? What was similar about the stories? They were in different places. They were both in... No, they were not both in the woods. One was in the snow. Arctic, yeah. So, let's see. What was something that was the same? Walker, did you see anything that was the same in the stories? There were three bears. Those were the characters. Okay. Now, let's see. What about the setting? So we're not going to focus on the characters. In the setting, we found differences. Now let's find things that are the same. So let's think. If we go back to the stories, this one was in the cottage, in the woods. But where was it? It was in a cottage, but what else is another word for a cottage? In the woods, but what's another word for a cottage? It's a house. So they were both in houses. Even though their houses looked different, they were both in houses, right?
I thought the cottage was a cabbage.
Let's keep those thoughts in our
Thank
Thank you. Okay, so things that are opposite or not the same were in these circles over here. But things that were the same were right here. Does that make sense? So things that they had very similar. So now what you're going to do on your sheet is you're going to write things that were similar. That were in the stories, okay? So things that were similar. What did someone say about the characters? Can anybody name the characters again for me? Remy.
Three little bears.
Shh, I asked Remy to answer. The mama bear.
Can I write it? Did you write that?
I'll tell you when to write it. The mama bear. So you can put that in this circle right here. So do you see the circle in the middle?
Yeah.
That's where you're gonna write mama bear. So you can write mama bear. Miss Joy wrote it right on the board. So that was something that was similar, right? In both stories, they both had a mama bear.
Wait, this is the tricky word because it's
It is a tricky word. Can you write it, please? Can you write it in the symbol? It has a E-A. Good job. Right in the middle. This is where you're going to write it, friends. You're going to write it in this circle right here. Mama bear. And what else was in both stories? Can anybody raise their hand? I'm looking for somebody with a raised hand. Sloan, what else was in the story that was similar?
Daddy bear.
A papa bear or a daddy bear. So you can put papa. Can we sound that word out? Can we go? So can we spell that together? Let's go. And it sounds like and it's A. Good job. Pa.
A bear.
Good job. So you can put papa because bear's a lot to put on there. You can put that in the same circle as mama bear.
I got 2 papers.
Okay, and what else was similar in the stories? Brooklyn, they both had houses, so that's the setting, but what's a character that they both had? A little girl, they both had a little girl. So you can put a little girl in there too. So you can put girl.
Which one?
In this circle right here.
It doesn't fit no.
If it doesn't fit, you can just write it on the outside of the circles too. Okay, so our next one was what were the differences in the characters? What were things that were contrasting? They were different. Okay, Sloan, what were different things? Different characters. They had boots, so there were bears with boots on. So you can put that in a difference. You can put the bears had boots. Bears with boots. And you're going to write that in one of the outside circles. So that was a difference. That was contrasting.
And there's an S at the end. It's a tricky word.
Boots. It does have an Okay. And what was another difference? So, Ikra, what was another difference in the characters? Not the setting, the characters. The families were, yeah. But what was different about the girls? Can anybody tell me what was different about the girls? Okay, Tully. Their names were different. So, this one is the 3 snow bears. So we're going to put snow bears, SB. And this was Goldilocks and the bears. So we're just going to put GB. And Goldilocks and the bears, what was the little girl's name? Can anybody raise their hand and tell me what the little girl's name was? Okay. Say it. What was the little girl's name in Goldilocks and the 3 bears? It's in the title. Orange gonna work. Hey friends, why do I hear so much talking? Do we talk when the teacher's talking?
No, listen.
Thank you. So Goldilocks. There's let me make sure I spell her name right. Okay, can we sound out Goldilocks together? Go.
Oh.
It has a CK. It does, because there's a short vowel sound. Okay, when you have Goldilocks written down, I want you to go like this with a bubble in your mouth. Oh my goodness, you look so fast. Does everybody do? No. Okay, put your thumbs up when you're done. And let's be patient for those who are still writing. I'm looking for friends who are sitting still. Okay. So, the other girl's name was Aluki. And I gotta make sure I spell her name right. Her name is very different because it has Aluki. In this box over here, in the 3 snow bears, because that was a character in the 3 snow bears. I'm looking for thumbs up when you're done. Okay, put your thumb up when you're done. Okay, good job. Now I want everyone, you can write anything that you remember that was different or the same. Now, can anybody raise their hand and tell me where you put things that are the same?
In the middle.
In the middle. Sloan, can you come draw where you're supposed to write things that are similar in our Venn diagram? You can draw a heart where we're supposed to write it. Things that are similar. Oh my goodness, perfect. Okay, can someone raise their hand and tell me where differences go? Things that are not the same, they're contrasted. Let's see, Marla. We're doing it a different color. Will you write a heart where it's differences? Where do the differences go? They go in 2 places. Now, where else do differences go in a different story? There you go. Good job. You can draw a circle there. Perfect. So, our differences go on the side, right? And that means what word?
Contrasting.
Contrasting. And the similarities is what? What word? Compare. Good job. Okay, so in your paper, I want everyone to take a moment and look at their paper and write something that maybe you saw that was similar in the middle or different on the outside. You can choose one. What was similar or what was different, and you can write whatever you want to. And if you need help to spell, I need you to raise your hand quietly and sit there, and you can whisper it into my ear. And if you can sound it out, I want you to try to sound it out, okay? Because it's okay if you don't spell it right. We'll fix it. Yeah, just write that. That's perfect. Just write it. We got it. Yes, perfect. Yes, perfect. Raise your hand quiet. Good job. You told me first. You got it. You just sound it. You got it. Okay. Alright, good. Okay, when you're done, I want one friend. Okay, when we are all done, I want Sailor, will you collect everyone's sheet? Is everyone's name on your sheet?
Yes.
I got two.
Okay.
I got
Sailor.
me too.
Sailor will come pick up your sheet and then she'll bring it to me, okay? And in that time, I want everyone to sit quietly.
Assisting UCS faculty